Hello everybody, welcome back to our YouTube channel. Today we are going to talk about the research proposal. What is a research proposal? What are the components of a research proposal? How does this help in academics or in other areas? So let's go through it. So by definition, we can define that a research proposal is a document which is used just to propose a research project. Mainly, this document is used by students, researchers, professors, and the other interested people when they want maybe to apply for funding, when they develop this kind of a document when they are applying for maybe an admission, maybe for different studies, bachelor's degree or bachelor studies, PhD studies, or master studies. It is also prepared when you want to start writing your final year project. That is one of the requirement of preparing this kind of document called research proposal, or when you are preparing a thesis or dissertation for PhD students. So once it is submitted to the department or to the supervisor, this document is assessed, approved, and you proceed to the next step. So the main purpose or the main goal of a research proposal is to present and justify the need to study a research problem, and indicates the practical ways in which the proposed study should be conducted. Regardless of your research area, the domain you are in, the research proposal describe generally what you will investigate, why it is important, and how you will do the research. The research proposal generally summarizes the research question you want to answer through your research, and it shows the approach or the technique you will use in order to answer it, the techniques or the methods or the methodology. We'll come back to it. So mainly a good research proposal ranges between just 200 to 2000 to 4000 words. Generally it is between 4 to 8 pages, considering that one page has around 500 words. So generally the research proposal should not be too short or too long, but its length it will depend mainly on the university instruction or recommendation or guidelines. When it comes to research proposal preparation, it involves different actions which are presented in a systematic and a scientific way. So a research proposal can also be defined as a roadmap which shows where the journey begins, the destination, and the method to get there. We can also say that the research proposal demonstrates your adequate expertise or your experience to undertake a given project. And this document is also used to assess the quality and the originality of your research area, as well as its overall feasibility or applicability. So let's see now the component of a research proposal. we can say that a research proposal can vary between fields depending on your research area, depending on the university requirement, depending on the department. It can vary. Its component or its format can vary from one institution to another, from one department to another. But commonly, the common goal uh, is more or less the same. The structure might be different, but the common goal is more or less the same. So let's see now the components of a research proposal. So in most of the cases, you will find that most of the research proposal have these components, meaning that they have just the title or topic page or cover page. They also have the introduction, but sometimes we find that instead of calling introduction, they will call maybe the background and the research problem. In other cases, we found that the introduction is separate from the background. This document, the research proposal, has also a section on the research questions and the objectives. It has the section on significance, the section or the part or which talks about the literature review, the research methodology, the research schedule or the timeline, the budget, and the last part which shows the list of cited works. Mainly when it comes to research or research proposal, mainly it contains many things. The only things that do not appear in the research proposal are the findings and the analysis of those findings. So let's now see the benefits of writing a research proposal. Why, when after writing a research proposal or when you are writing your research proposal, what are the benefits? So when you are writing or preparing your research proposal, at the same time you develop the thinking skills. Not only that, but also supervisors from different institutions or different universities use proposal prepared by different students or prepared by different applicants to assess the quality and the originality of the ideas, to analyze the critical thinking skills and the feasibility or the applicability of the research projects. So not only that, but when you are preparing your research proposal, it helps just to conduct a comprehensive literature review to determine that a research problem has not been adequately addressed by other researchers, and also it helps just to better answer to better understand or just to better understand just the answers which you have been provided on that questions and so on. The research proposal are also used to assess your expertise in that area in which you want to conduct research, your knowledge of existing literature, and how your project will advance knowledge in your chosen area. Not only that, but it helps also just to improve your research and writing skills. Other benefits related to research proposal, it helps to critically examine, to review, and to adopt different methods to gather data and so on. The research proposal can also help just to better understand how you can answer a research question. It helps also to demonstrate your knowledge in that area of research. It also shows the method you want to use to complete your research. So now let us see the question which must be addressed by every research proposal. So mainly the first question is what do you plan to accomplish? So that is the first question that should be addressed by every research. So be clear in defining your research program. The second one is why do you want to do the research? So you have just to conduct your review, the review of your literature, and provide convincing evidence that the topic has been well investigated. And the other thing that as a question which must be addressed by every research proposal is how are you going to conduct the research? So the how is just which methods are you going to use to answer the research question or to address the problem, the research problem. So let's start with the first component of just a research proposal. So mainly is the title. So the title, the topic of your research projects. This is just a tentative title for your research. And remember that the topic should not be too long or too short, but it should be brief but informative. It should provide the information on what you are going to do. Generally, it has nearly each title has nearly 15 words. Remember that the title of your research project can be changed as you progress in your research, depending on how you are working, the data you are gathering, the advices collected from your supervisor, and so on. Remember that the title mainly should include the following two aspects. So the first one, what exactly will be the researcher or the research what will be researched? So what will you do? So that is one. What will be investigated in your study? And the other thing, which domain your research must make an original contribution to knowledge. Remember that you have, when you are preparing just your research proposal, you have to read so many books, so many research articles, spend many hours with other researchers to better get more information to be challenged on that research matter you are proposing. And remember that the title you are proposing, the research work you are proposing, it should be catchy. It should attract attention of readers, of researchers. It should be informative, should inform what you want to do, and it should be interesting. So how can you get just a topic, a research topic? So there are different areas you can get just an interesting topic. One of them, you can maybe get a topic, or you can obtain it from conflicting science positions, or previous research, advancing science, or practical knowledge, or current or recent just a practical problem, like let's take an example in agriculture, like water supply scarcity for agriculture production, and so on. So remember that when you are selecting your topic, you have to ask yourself different questions like, do I have suitable theoretical background on this research matter? Do I have time for this research? Or do I have money and the equipment just to conduct this research? Do I have sufficient data and can I access how can I access that data? So these are the things you have to ask yourself when you are selecting a research topic. Remember that the first page, or the page which contains the title, should also include other information like personal information such as your names, academic title if possible, date or contact details, your institution, supervisor, department, and so on. So let's go to the second just part of the research proposal, which is the introduction. So this part mainly is also called the need for study or abstract sometimes. So when you want to conduct a research, or when you are preparing a research proposal, you need to introduce your research topic to your readers, to the reader, to the one who will be going through your research, and explain why it is significant. It should convey to the reader what you want to do, what necessitates the study, and your passion for the topic. It should provide the background information or define the problem. Sometimes you will find that in some research proposals, the introduction is together with the background and the problem definition, and in others, the introduction is separated from the background and the problem definition. So in case your introduction is together with the background and the problem definition, make sure that you include all of these things in your introduction. So in your introduction, you should also ask yourself, so who has an interest in the domain of inquiry? What do we already know about the topic? So what has not been answered adequately in previous research and practice? Another question, how will this research add to knowledge, practice, and policy in this area? So when you are conducting just research, or when you are in this part or in this section of introduction, you need to provide some background information about the emergence and evolution of the topic as well. So that's what we were saying, that in case your introduction is combined with the background or definition of the problem, this has to be well stated if necessary. So, so how the study or the research can contribute to solve the problem should be clearly indicated or explained, and the contribution toward the expansion of scientific knowledge. These are the aspects that should be discussed in this section. So you have also just to identify or just to indicate the gaps in the academic literature in your field, in order just to create just new knowledge. That's it. So just make sure that when people read your introduction, your readers should be able to clearly understand what you want to do. Likewise, they should be able to appreciate your enthusiasm for the topic and to be engaged or excited in the potential result outcome of the study. Generally, we can say that the introduction, it is typically structured from the general information. When you are starting this introduction generally, but when as you go, you have just to be focused, to narrow down it, to start just to be brief, to focus on your research question. So when you are preparing the introduction, imagine just you are writing for a general reader rather than an expert audience. So let's go to background. So this is another important part of the research proposal. So if the introduction is separate from the background, so make sure that the background is where you explain the context of your proposal and describe in detail why it is important. Um, so here, so in this section, so the writer now is intending just is assuming that the reader who will be just going through this is now a specialist of this research area. So that's where you start now to use the technical language related to your research area. So that's what we were saying, that the background can be included just in your introduction. It can be a separate section. So just in this section, you have to demonstrate that you have a strong understanding of the key topics, significant studies, and outstanding researchers in your area of research, and how these have contributed to the current landscape. So make sure that your background contains or attempts to address some or all of the following. The first one, it has to state the problem statement. It has to define where the problem, and it has to give more details or explanations about the purpose of the study. The background needs to be clear and concise, and it should clearly explain the issue that needs to be addressed. So be sure to answer why should anyone care. So the background should also describe the major issues or problems to be addressed by your research. Example, where does the research question problem come from? If it arises out of a debate or literature, introduce that debate, so all that has to be clear. If it is started with a request from a particular community, or describe the community and the problems confronting it. So in the background, if possible, if any, so you have to indicate the approaches and methods used by other researchers to systematically analyze similar problems, and explain the method you plan to use for conducting your research. So let's go to the fourth section, where we talk about the research questions and the objectives. So remember that the purpose of the research has to be stated clearly in the form of research questions and objectives, depending on the problem you are investigating. So before writing just your proposal, you should take time to reflect on your key questions that you are seeking to answer. So another thing to remember, objectives are generally the steps you are going to take to answer your research questions. So when you are formulating your research questions or objectives, just ask yourself, what do I want my readers to know? And when they read my proposal, what do I want for them to know? What do you plan to do or achieve? Why do you want to conduct this research? And so on. So the research question is crucial for producing a good research proposal, and more importantly, shaping the direction of your research. The question should indicate exactly what you want to explore, and allows the reader to assess whether or not your project is practicable. So it also gives the reader a sense of findings or might produce in a response. So remember that just when the reader goes through your research question, it helps also to better understand what will be the findings from your research. When we talk about the objectives of a research projects, they can be defined as a list of goals you intend to achieve through your proposed research. So what are you trying to achieve with your research? What is the purpose? What are the benefits? What are your aims? So they should be clearly indicated. Mainly the research objectives can be 2 or 3 statements which emphasize what you ultimately want to achieve. So make sure that when you are formulating your objective, they should be achievable and measurable. So the significance of a research project or research proposal. So here, when we are talking about just significance, we want just to explain, you have to show why your research is important. So show just the contribution to knowledge, what is it bringing to the research community, and so on. So indicate why is this topic significant to the readers, to other researchers. So why should others be interested in your research? Just think about and explain what led you to undertake the research in the proposed area. So another thing is just the importance of doing it now should be emphasized. Indicate the benefits or the use and the value of the research and its contribution to solve communication problems. Remember to also indicate how future research on the topic could benefit from this study. Mainly, this part should convince the reader that the study would contribute toward the scientific evolution of communication theory and the practical application. So let's see the literature review now. So when we are dealing with just research, we have also to think about past or recent related just research work. So mainly when we are dealing with literature review, this is a kind of a preliminary literature review. It generally provides a summary of previous related research related to your research problem. It also shows the strength and the weakness and the justification of your research. So when you are conducting just literature review, you also need to show the relationship between your question or your problem and other past or other recent researchers. So the literature review, mainly it's an important part of a research proposal. It may mainly investigates or survey important academic works in your research area, using with the help of different maybe thesis, dissertation, books, peer-reviewed articles. Generally, the literature review examines, summarizes, analyzes, categorizes, and compare different recent debates, and also summarizes the current state of knowledge and recent debates on the topic. When it comes to literature review, just you do not need just to write everything concerning related to your topic, but it generally summarize Clearly demonstrate the gap or problem your research project will address by outlining both the strength and the limitation of previous research. Um, so you need so when you are doing your research, you need to be more focused. So you need just to have a structure, and remember that it will depend on the faculty or school requirements. Sometime just remember that some university department may require a different structure. So it will depend on the faculty or department. So remember that when you are preparing just literature, remember just to cite key references. Remember to compare various theories, methodologies, and the findings from various authors. Describe what are the major areas of disagreement or debate in literature. Which approaches, findings, or methodologies seem more reliable, valid, and appropriate, and why? And connect the literature to your own area of research. So let's go to methodology, research methodology. So this is another important part of research proposal. This is whereby you indicate the methods and the logic steps that you will use to tackle your research problem. So here you indicate how you will solve the problem, so and achieve your objective. So when it comes just mainly to research methodology, you have to indicate the type of data, maybe primary or secondary data. So you will be collecting. You need to indicate whether you will maybe conduct a field work or what kind of techniques you will use in order just to answer the research question and achieve your objectives. So you need also to show just a kind of just research you will be conducting, if it is qualitative or quantitative research. The method of gathering the data, if you will conduct just interviews and so on. So so not only that, but also you have to indicate the techniques you will use that just to analyze the data, and the way you will interpret the results to be obtained in relation to the research program. So let's go to research schedule or timeline. So this part mainly indicates how you will use the available time in conducting your proposed research. So it's like kind of a timetable which shows how long the component of your research will take. So this is just it demonstrates, that's what we were saying, to demonstrate to the reader that your project can be completed within the available time. This is an example which shows how different tasks can be accomplished in different periods. For taking an example, here we have different tasks: the literature review, the proposal development, the data collection, data analysis, and so on, and the final submission of the report. So, and the respective months and the weeks that each task will be conducted in. So remember that the research proposal has also to indicate the budget. Mainly when you are applying for funding or other things, you need just to indicate as well the budgets, the costing of your projects. So you have to prepare a detailed or a list of just all resources that you will need to carry out your research project and the respective costs. So if you need maybe materials or software, the field works, or the travel costs, there any assistance, you have to indicate that, and the amount it will cost you. This is an example for just a budget which can be developed by maybe a researcher. If you are moving from one place to another, you need an air ticket, so you will pay maybe some manpower. You need to indicate the costs. If you are traveling for data collection or accommodation or other requirements, you need to indicate that as well. So this is more or less the last but important part of your research proposal is just the reference, a list of references or bibliography or sources. So you need to indicate just the most important works you have referred to. Just you have to cite them to indicate where they come from. So all material, mainly books, articles, reports, just you have just referenced. You have to indicate where you got the literature, where you consulted, and so on. So so this is an example of just of different just citation style. If you want maybe the right, or not citation style but writing style, so APA, you can use APA or IEEE or Chicago. These are different just writing style you can use when you are referencing. So in referencing, there are different tools used for referencing, such as Mendeley. You can use it. You can use BibMe. It's another referencing or citation tool. This is also another important citation tool, which is called EndNotes. So thank you. Remember to subscribe to our channel. Thank you and bye.